Hi everyone, welcome to episode 8, Blue Collar Hockey Talk. My name is Wes, I'm here with my co-host Scott. We're here to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs and everything in the NHL. We got a lot of stuff to go over today, from injuries to the Leafs to COVID-19. We're going to talk about West Coast Tim's thoughts. We're going to go over the last two games against the Canucks, if you want to call them games or call them domination. We have a few other cool segments going on today. How are you doing today, Scott?
Yeah, buddy, I'm doing well, man. Doing well. I'm pretty jacked after the last couple games. I mean, I know we're feeding on Vancouver right now, and I can hear those fans in Vancouver chanting, "Come on, Seattle, go!" You know, they're looking forward to it. But man, I'm pretty jacked. It's pretty fun. How you keeping, man?
Good. Yeah, the last few games have been pretty awesome to watch, and it's either the Leafs are this good or Vancouver is that bad, and I don't know which one it is.
Vancouver, they haven't put up very good games, but I mean, I don't want to take away from the Leafs.
No.
I mean, I also don't want to be unrealistic on who we just played and where they are right now. That confidence that they gained from playing against Ottawa didn't exactly carry over too long, huh?
Definitely.
But yeah, no, I think that the Leafs played a solid game, man. I'm jacked to see how excited they get for each other when they score. Yep. When Matthews clobbered Simmons after that goal, like, he was so excited, and he knew the play was for the puck to come over to him, but he doesn't care. He was like, "Oh my God, what did you just do?" Like, it was so cool to see it. And that when I talked on our last show about how there was that pixie dust that I felt like maybe was starting to wear off, that's what I was talking about. That's what's back. That chemistry, that feeling, that vibe, that energy, it's there, man. And I could feel it as a fan. It's right through Leaf Nation.
Oh, for sure, man. There is something special about this team, and I don't like to say that every season, but this season, for sure, I think they are a team to be reckoned with. Well, speaking of the Leafs, another Leaf was injured, man. Travis Dermott didn't play Saturday because of a Charlie horse. It must be a tough Charlie horse to sit out a hockey game, eh?
You know, that's what I think too. Do you think there's more to it?
Oh, there has to be more to it. Like, it could be some like massive bruising or something, but it is what it is. Like, we do have a lot of defensemen right now, and it's good to see some other guys get a chance to go.
100%, man. I mean, I hope that Dermott heals up. I hope that this season is a season that he really kind of clicks and gets it all into gear. Because I don't know, I've been a Dermott fan, but I get hung up, and I tend to realize it too late that I get sentimental on players. I start to fall in love with third liners and third pairings.
Yeah.
And I've fallen into that trap, and I know that even with me saying, "Hey, I'm looking forward to Dermott coming back." With that said, we're really deep defensively, you know. So that's showing right now. Like, we looked good in the last couple games, and that's not anything to or against Dermott. I hope that he gets going well, because everyone healthy is a good thing.
Well, it's one of those things that's so awesome to have depth, and I heard this from a former player this week on a radio show saying, like, depth is awesome unless you're the depth guy, so it's got to be tough to sit out some games, even though, like, you are an NHLer and clearly can contribute. But man, it's so nice to have as for the Leafs that, like, it's next man up and it's not a drop off.
Yeah, you're 100% right about that. And I mean, I know that we've got guys that we're trying to give a little bit of ice time to. I look forward to seeing Sandin get onto the ice. I mean, I'm not rushing or saying he should have or shouldn't be, but when he does get the call, and it will happen at some point, and likely through injuries, not through other reasons, just because of how the season is, I'll be excited for that. We've got guys that are in our depth that I'm excited to see. And I mean, I heard a little rumbling there that, Sandin said that, he was hoping that he'd be playing. But I mean, in all fairness, like, when I heard people trying to spin that into a negative talk, it's kind of something else that's bugging me, is I don't understand how there's negative talk right now. That's almost like a given. Of course the guy wants to play. He hasn't played in a hockey game in 10 months. What the hell did you think he was going to say? Of course he wants to play. But he's not. That's not a bad thing to say. I want him to say that. Like, and I hated on players like Raycroft in the past because of him saying when he was riding the pine and getting a pretty penny to do so. I remember him getting asked, how does this make you feel? And he was supposed to answer, it burns me, man. It makes me to go to the rink early every day and leave late every day. But he didn't. He said, I'm pretty thankful for the position that I'm in right now, which I get it. True. Like you're getting paid millions to be on the bench, but that's what he was content with. The passion to drive to get bigger was gone. And that's when I was done with him. Anyway.
Yeah, man, that was a long time ago, and we don't have to worry about him anymore. He's some
See, I
commentator in
just did it.
Boston, so you just
I
gotta
did it.
let that go.
I fell in the trap, and that's what happens. And I didn't mean to do it. It's such good things happening right now. You should have said, Scott, shut up, man.
It's true. Maybe I'll take that. I'll take that note, and next time I'll do it, man. Other things in the NHL, COVID-19, man, it came back again. Like right when we finished recording our last show, the Colorado Avalanche have had games postponed through February 11th. Another team, and like I don't know what's going on, but it seems to be like a daily occurrence that there's a lot of guys going onto this COVID list.
It's in bad shape, man. Like I don't really know where it goes because like the North Division's doing okay, but that can turn on a dime. We know that, but so far so good. Cross the fingers, it keeps going. But to watch the other divisions start falling behind and having so many games get put back, I don't know. Like you're gonna have massive breaks. How are you gonna schedule that? Is it going to? I don't know what it's gonna look like, man. One day at a time, and I hope that it just keeps going. The NFL pushed through.
Yeah. Well, you know what the thing is too. I think when they came out with this whole season of having the 4 different divisions, I really had a negative thought about it, being like, why would you only have them play 7 or 8 teams each? But you know what? With the COVID stuff going around, maybe it makes a lot of sense because there's no one saying each division needs to play the same amount of games, right? Like as long as the teams within that division play the same amount of games, that's fine. So in the North, we might play the whole season, but in the West Division, it might only be like 49 or 50 games. But who cares, right? It is what it is. Like this season is unique for tons of horrible reasons, but as long as it works out in the end, like that, I think it's great.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. There's no other way around it. Like some divisions might end up on a point percentage. That's where it doesn't matter about cross being out of your division at all. Like there's everything's fair. It really is. Yeah, this will get wrapped up somehow, some way, but they're going through some pretty serious limping times right now, man, and I hope it gets together.
Yeah. One last thing I wanted to bring up before we get into West Coast Tim. Right when we were talking up the Montreal Canadiens in the last episode, they lose to the Ottawa Senators 3-2 on Thursday. I told you Ottawa would take some points away from some teams.
I know, and it seems to be when I'm hopping on bandwagons, I'm not hopping on a bandwagon, but like you know what, I know that they lost the first game and squeaked out the win on that 2-1 win in the second game with Ottawa, but in all fairness, man, I think that Ottawa's built to be maybe a little bit of stealing points from the Leafs and Habs this year. They're not built to do well in the division overall. They're just not. But the Leafs, like I said, and the Habs, they're benefiting from being in this division, and Ottawa's not benefiting from being in this division. So I think that it's going to be weird to do our judge of how we are within our division when we're looking at Ottawa. I think we're going to stack up great against the rest of the teams, and unfortunately, so do the Habs.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a bit of a crapshoot for Ottawa, like we said in previous shows, that there's just not another team where they look at in the division and they're like, we're just as good or if not better than them. Like there's no Detroits, there's no Chicagos, there's no Buffaloes, there's no one that they can measure themselves against. That's a fair measurement. You know, maybe against Vancouver, like the way Vancouver's going, but Vancouver just tore a strip off of Ottawa a few weeks ago, so I don't even know if that's a fair comparison. But moving on, what's West Coast Tim got for us today?
Well, I'm going to read her out here. So West Coast Tim says, team chemistry looks like it's building in a way I haven't seen in recent years. There seems to be more passion and camaraderie. Thanks for the tough word, bud. Everyone seems to be playing as a unit. I think these past 2 games have been great at building. Have been great at building that chemistry. Not every game they're going to have the fire, but the way they have been winning games will go a long way for their overall confidence. I'm with you, man. I'm a big chemistry guy, and like I was saying there, Wes, it's like we saw that chemistry when Matthews was celebrating. We saw that flair. That it goes right through your whole game, man, and it goes right through the bench. And I don't think that you can explain it enough. And I heard Keefe in an interview. He was talking about this last week not directly like this, but indirectly, because he said, you know, he was getting asked after Spezza got the Hattie. What do you think about Spezza? Like, what does he add to the room? And do you think that he's like an important part? And he just looked and he goes, like, listen, he goes, he's such an important part that we realized we needed to do more of him. And I think we did that by bringing in other guys that brought things that he brings to not only on the ice, but in the room, to the guys to practice, on the bench, in between shifts. We saw what he brought to the game, so we wanted to build on that. And like, he's clearly talking about guys like Jumbo Joe and Simmons and Bergosian, you know, like these guys came in there. I love where this team's going, man. I love how they're playing as a unit, and that's why we're killing penalty. Or well, sorry, that's why we're scoring on the power play. Like, that's why we're doing. We're actually finishing the goals, and we're getting tip-ins. We're getting man. I love seeing the celebrations. It feels like everybody's tapping each other on the back, like Jack Campbell.
Yeah, yeah, I do agree with Tim's thoughts for sure this time. Like it is so nice to see them winning, and I think like winning breeds confidence, and that breeds like a sense of being a team, you know, and they're all buying into the system. It's not like they're losing and they have to like pick themselves up, and someone has to step up and drag them into a win. And you know, I've said this before, like the Leafs are a good team. They should be able to win more often than not. When they're playing a bad game, they should be able to win those this year, and that hasn't been true for a long, long time.
I'm comfortable with anybody that's hopping on the ice. And everybody knows their role. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
plays it great. I feel like we've got a really solid lineup, man. And it's not just like you say, we're not just getting a few guys dragging it through. You know, like that's where I wish that Edmonton would figure it out a little bit, because holy smokes, you've got two guys combining for what, 43 points, and you're playing to a 500 record. Give me a break. You know, that's where I'm stoked. And we still have amazing numbers coming out of guys like Matthews and Marner, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But look at the other scoring. A pair of goals by Simmons, a Hattie by Spezza, you know, like it's sweet. And they're stoked for each other.
Yeah, for sure. How about we go over those two games, man? That first game on Thursday night when they crushed the Canucks 7-3. And like I was worried about how they would come out after that four day break, but man, it was never in doubt that game. Like it's hard as a Leaf fan to say that because like I was watching both games, and you know what, we'll stick with the first game. And even when Vancouver tied it up and made it close, I was like, the Leafs are winning. They just looked better. The passes were better. The chemistry was better on the ice. Like I never had a worry in my mind that the Leafs are going to lose these games.
I agree. You can tell when a team's playing with their chin up, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you can tell when a team's just trying to keep up, you know, and Vancouver tried. And I'm with you on how they were going to come out. Like I think I may have even said on the last show there, and if not, it was just in us chatting, but I thought that the Leafs would come out and have to, you know, deal with coming out flat for 10 minutes. And boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. And I love being wrong on that. You know, thanks, Matthews. You know, hats off to you, man. Like, that's pretty sweet to see to see how they came out. And like you say, um, they dominated that. Like it's awesome to see how Spezza played in that game.
Yeah, man. It's something because like Spezza has he means a bit to me because like I had friends that played with Spezza growing up. Like he's my age, and the fact they're calling him like old man Spezza and vintage, I'm like, oh my god, man. Like it just makes me feel so old. Like I had good friends growing up that played against him in the GTHL and things like that, and it's something to see when people are like, yeah, he's still holding on at age 37. They're talking about him like he's this old man, and I'm like, oh, like jeez. But it was
Pretty
it was
wild.
great to see him get that hat trick. His first hat trick in a few years. His last one was April 9th in 2016 when he was with Dallas, and it was just awesome to see how important he's become to the Leafs. You know.
Look, it felt like a celebration amongst the team, man. Like they were like, I had not felt that kind of pride for a hat trick amongst, like, as seeing that kind of pride come out of players. You know, like they were so stoked for him, man. And I've said that word like 3 times. We're gonna need a counter for it. Sorry, we don't. But Spezza is like the shots, man. Like it wasn't dirty goals. Like, I mean, like he, like that snipe up in the top corner was just deadly.
Yeah, he's a smart hockey player. And it's good to see that like he can't rely on his skill like he did when he was young. So he needs to rely on his position and where like just how he's playing. It's really awesome to see him doing well.
If you just watch him skate on the ice, and I mean, I'll talk him apart here, and I know bias recency, it's not like I've noticed this for a long time. You see that he's already curling to where the play's going. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he can see it, he gets it. So, like you say, he may have lost a step or two with age, but he is a student of the game and he loves the game. You know, and so he's going to keep getting or keep himself in a position to do well, and he's doing that. He's got hockey IQ. Love
Oh,
it.
for sure. Let's move on to the next game, Saturday night when the Leafs won 5-1. Man, like the last game, never in doubt. Like I said, Simmons and Matthews both got 2 goals, which is awesome. Like I thought, Mikko Lehtinen played well. It was probably his best game as a Leaf. So that's what I took out of the game for sure. That Mikko Lehtinen.
Actually, I wanted to say that Mikko Lehtinen, he had a keep in there, and I don't know how he kept the puck. Like there was a clearing attempt by Van, and I
Mm-hmm.
tell you, like that puck should have been gone, and I thought it was. And I like you could see all other 9 players are on the ice turning around to go up the ice, and all of a sudden he drops it down, still in the zone, and passes it over. Like, and I thought to myself, like that was serious composure. That's what I want to see out of this guy, and it's there. That was a good game. That was his best game, I think, that I've seen him play for sure.
Another thing I took out of the game was on the broadcast they showed that Wayne Simmons took a puck off his hand late in the game and he was getting some attention on the bench, and they were talking about like it's a 5-0 game. You know, you kind of don't want to do anything too risky. You want to make sure you get out of this game healthy. And a few minutes later, the Canucks went on the power play and they scored. And then the broadcast says that's the 6th game in the row the Leafs have allowed a power play goal. But to me, that's factually true, but it's not really a fair statement. You can't play a penalty kill at 5-0 the way you're gonna play one leading by one with 2 minutes left in the game.
Not when you just said that you're going to play another scenario based on that same thought process. You know,
Yeah.
that's like you say, that's 2 separate thought processes. You know, like you can't do that. That's hypocritical. Yeah, that's a trip over their words there, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. And like I understand that they want to get Freddie the shutout and stuff like that, but this year it is not about the shutouts. It's about the wins. Like I want wins. I don't care if Freddie gets 7 shutouts, 20 shutouts, 0 shutouts. If the Leafs get like 35 to 40 wins this season, I'll take it.
Yeah, this year is about that. I mean, my dad and I was talking about that. Like, I mean, yeah, okay, I guess Freddie would love to have a shutout on there for his resume going into this off season with his contract year. But you know what? I don't even think that he gets it, man. This season it's got a chance to be an awesome season. It already feels like it. Just watching it feels awesome. Like I'm I'm feeling the passion. You know, like that. It's sweet.
It is, and it's
Yeah, man.
it's like every game I'm excited to watch, and I'm looking forward to everyone. And it's not, for a few years it was really like a dreading feeling, like, oh, I don't know if they're gonna be able to pull it out and win this game, or like they should win this game and then they would lose, or else it would be too close, or they just weren't playing as a team, or it just didn't feel right. But hey, and it's nice to be cheering for a winning team.
I'm with you on that. And I mean, just on a little side note, my daughter, she's 9 years old. Okay, in 2 weeks. Taryn is her name, and she went and did a poll at her school to see who do you cheer for as an NHL club. Now, the fact that she's even thinking about this shows that there's a buzz in the air. I mean, I've been a diehard Leaf fan the whole time, but like this, she's really jumping aboard. And I thought it was neat because there was 20 kids that did the survey, and 11 of them said that they were Leaf fans, which I wasn't sure what the number was going to be, and only 2 said Habs. I didn't ask who they were because I don't want to have any biased opinions about those kids. So yeah, I just thought that was kind of neat. I'm interested to see what it's going to be like at the end of the year, man. Like, I wonder what those kids would say. Still
Yeah.
going to be 11?
Hey man, who knows? I would think it'd be more, especially if the Leafs can go on a decent playoff run, right?
That's my
Another
point.
thing I wanted to mention in today's show. A few weeks ago, I was talking about how the NHL really kind of laid an egg when they were scheduling their games against the championship Sunday games. Today is Super Bowl Sunday, and the NHL actually scheduled their games to either start at noon or 3 p.m. Eastern. So a tip of the hat to them, excuse me, to know that they can't compete against the Super Bowl. No one can compete against the Super Bowl.
No, and I mean, I bet you if they even wanted to have that discussion, their sponsors probably made a real quick phone call saying, "Hey, oh, we've got $5 million invested in that other game that you're going to go compete against for one day." Yeah, no, man, they made the right choice.
Yeah, exactly. So one other thing we want to get into today, it's a great idea that you brought up. Let's do an Atlantic Division check-in.
Well, I
So,
mean, I just got curious. I'm sorry, Wes. I don't mean to jump in there. Like, I was just like, how, like, we were in such a strong division for so long, and it felt like we weren't getting, like, we kept going into the first round as the third seed,
mhm.
and we wanted home ice advantage. You know, we were hoping to face someone else. Well, you know what? That's not how it was going to look. And Wes, I'm sorry to have jumped in there. Like, you go through the points and the records here, man, because it was nuts when I looked at at the standings.
Yeah, for sure. Like I just want to go over the teams that are usually in the Atlantic Division for everyone. So it's usually Toronto, Boston, Montreal, Tampa Bay Lightning, Florida Panthers, Buffalo Sabres, Detroit Red Wings, and the Ottawa Senators. Uh, if we put those teams in order of the standings that they're in this season, Toronto has 19 points, Boston 18 points, Montreal 18 points, Tampa Bay 15, Florida 14, and Florida hasn't lost a game in regulation yet. Buffalo 10, Detroit 6, and Ottawa 5.
Dude, think about it. Like, the Leafs are sitting 9-2-1, Montreal 8-2-1, and we've got the worst winning percentage out of the bunch that you just described. You know, I mean, you've got Buffalo, Detroit, and Ottawa. Sorry, that are always that they're taking up the back of our division, and they are representing well because that's exactly what they're still doing. You know, playing at 2-8-2 for Detroit, 4-4-2 for Buffalo, and 2-9-1 for Ottawa. But then you look at the other ones, man. We're first in three of the four divisions. We don't have a single team in the fourth division. So in
Mm-hmm.
every division that we're in first, and in two of those three divisions, the Atlantic Division occupies second. Nuts.
So, what do you think this will say about next year? Do you think it'll people will see the Leafs as underperforming if they're not winning the division, or if they're in third again because they'll be in a division against other really good teams?
I think that you're always going to have two different kinds of conversations when you talk about the Leafs. You're going to have people that have seriously followed the Leafs. Like, I mean, honestly, you follow the Leafs, like watch shows like this or follow other podcasts. You know, like you get really into the Leafs. And then you're going to have a conversation that are people that just check out the standings once in a while, tune in late in the season, and that's fine. There's lots of fans like that, but there's going to be two different conversations, and that fan will probably say that the Leafs would be underperforming.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for myself, my eyes are open a little bit. It does show that like that is a very, very strong division, and it wasn't an excuse. Like it is, and next year it's going to be a fact of the matter. So this year's it's a blast, but I clearly see that Atlantic Division, those teams that are within it, they're for real. They're seriously the strongest division in hockey.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Like you can see they're generally very good teams, and you can see how hard it is for teams like Buffalo, Detroit, and Ottawa to get back into the fight. Like it is important for those teams to play other teams on their level to feel like they're making progress. Like I said before about Ottawa, because it's just coming in last over and over and over again. It's not good for your team. It's not good for the market. It's not good for the fans. Like how irritating would that be?
Well, I'll tell you what it does. It gets your fanship to put up billboards all over the capital of Canada saying, you know, to get rid of Melnick. Like it takes its toll, man. I mean, it gets waffles thrown on the ice. It gets
True.
fans going to the arena with bags over their heads. You know, this happened in Toronto. It happened like it happens. I've seen bags on the head in Montreal. You know, like I've seen them booed to the point where Price turns around, puts their hands up. You know, like it sucks when you're sitting there losing year after year. It
Yeah.
sucks when you're Jack Eichel playing in Buffalo.
Yeah, for sure, and it is really tough on those markets, and hopefully next year things will be kind of going back to normal, and they'll be able to even things out a bit more, and some teams be able to rise up a bit.
I just had a thought. I had said Buffalo, said Jack Eichel. Taylor Hall can't win one. Like
Yeah,
he not bet on himself to go there and have a solid year and so that he could cash in big. It was clear it was a payday run. I'm gonna go play with my boy Jack and we're gonna light things up. Oh, Taylor Hall. Jeez, man.
he could go down as one of the best players in the NHL to not do anything substantial in his prime. Like he did win the MVP a few years ago with New Jersey, and he was by far
It,
like the best player on that team. The thing is,
yeah,
I find a lot of the awards, and we've talked about the awards before, it is really the last third of the season. If you can go on a tear, you're going to get a lot of attention, and that happens in every league. Like I'm not making an excuse for him, and he deserved the award that year, but it's something, man. Like you're absolutely right. I think the number of playoff games he has played isn't even in the double digits.
it's insane. That's really insane.
Another thing I want to mention is our next show. We're going to be about a quarter of the way through the season, so we're going to break down how the Leafs are doing and how the North Division's doing a quarter of the way through, and see if there's any surprises.
Sounds good. And I just want to take a quick second. Like, if you're watching this show, maybe just take a second to click a like, click subscribe, share the video, man. Like, let's get some eyes on these things. Let's get some ears to this show, because we want to then have some feedback. And the more eyes on the show, the more feedback we get, the more interactive this could be, and the more fun it'll be for everyone. So, like, subscribe, share. Thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely. We need as much attention as we can get. Speaking of attention, man, today is the anniversary of Darryl Sittler's 10-point performance, man, in an 11-4 victory against the Boston Bruins and Maple Leaf Gardens. It's still hard to believe that he got 10 points in one game.
That is unreal. That is unbelievable to think of that. Like you had a 5 and 6 point game put up by Draisaitl and McDavid over the last week, and then you get Gretzky talking about the pace that they're on. So seriously, a 10-point game, that's magic, man. That's magic. I don't care what, and you'll hear people say it's 80s hockey. Nobody else did it.
Yep, that's it. Like Gretzky didn't do it, and Gretzky is the best hockey player to ever play the game. So, it's a great stat to have, and I feel like ever since then Boston's had our number. Maybe I'm mistaken, but it's one of those things that I'm sure Boston fans don't like being reminded of every year.
No, you're right. You're right. That's a pretty sick. That's a pretty sick stat. A pretty sick anniversary, man. Sorry to stumble on that. I'm just looking at 10 points. I'm like 10 points. I saw a stat actually last night. That was pretty neat. Sittler leads the Leafs all time for games with a three assist game. Okay, 3 assists in a game. And it wasn't even close. So Marner, this is why it came up, because Marner is now tied for 4th all time in Leaf franchise history for the most 3 assist games. And he's tied for 4th. And there's Matt Sundin, Doug Gilmour. I'm drawing a blank on the other player, like I say, tied for 4th. But Darryl Sittler was by far and away ahead. So Marner, I think, has 14 games. Sittler had 36 3 assist or more games.
That's amazing, eh?
That's wild, man. Like, that's seriously, like, good job, man. No wonder you had the C on your chest and we're beloved.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of games, there's a couple games we want to preview. They have one more against the Canucks on Monday night. What do you think's going to happen in that game?
Well, I think that the team has to go in hungry still, because points are points. 2 points are valuable. It doesn't matter who they're against. And I feel like this team finally gets that. They're showing up on the nights that typically they didn't show up. Nights that they thought they could mail it in the past, or at least that's how they skated, or how I saw it when I watched them not hustle to the bench or off the bench in years past. This year they are, and I want 2 more points. And I think that the Leafs and every player in that dressing room are focused on this game, watching videos for this game, and are going to get 2 points out of this game.
Do you think it's a good game to put Hutch in the net?
Yeah, I do, because you've got some seriously important games coming up after that. I don't want him in the net when we're playing against Montreal. I would put him in the net against either Vancouver or Ottawa, and it's too far away to see that happening again. So thanks for bringing that up. Hadn't thought of it. Bango. Yeah, man, I would definitely talk about it. I don't know if I'd say yes, but my initial thought is, yeah, man, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. I think it's the perfect game to put him into, because either way, you've got 2 out of 3 against the Canucks. I agree, like sweeping them would be just crushing for the Canucks. Yeah, like I said, I'd rather have Hutch in for the game against the Canucks, because then they have 2 important games against the Canadiens following that, and I think those are going to be fantastic games.
Buddy, like these are games that are going to finally, there's going to be some serious intensity in these games, because the points are vital. We're like you say, we're a quarter of the way into the season, man. Like, these points are now going to start adding up. The intensity is going to add up. We're going to be I'm gonna be just glued to the TV, man. Back-to-back games, and my girls, they're gonna stay up late those nights. I think we're gonna have to watch a little bit extra hockey.
That's fantastic, man. It those Montreal and Leaf games, like to have them both be good, it's the best hockey to watch, and it's so much fun.
I want to battle. I want to feel a passion inside of me that's fire. I want to jump off my seat like I'm watching a Canada-U.S. game, Canada-Russia game, and for me as a Leaf fan, Toronto-Montreal it gets those juices flowing, man. And when it matters, where if oh my God we allowed a goal and it hurts, feeling that, and then feeling when you win, like it's in the cards this year, man. Those feelings are all on the table.
Absolutely, man. Well, before we get going for today, do you have anything else you want to mention?
No, man. I mean, I just wanted to say thanks to anybody that's listening. Thanks for the support. We do want to hear some show topics, though. I'll start commenting underneath the video as well. Maybe I'll toss down a few questions. Just let's have some interaction going on here, guys. Thanks for listening, Wes. Thanks again, man. You're absolutely awesome. And West Coast Tim, much thanks for your thoughts again and your contributions. Always thankful for them.
All right, couldn't have said it better myself. Well, like I said earlier, it's Super Bowl Sunday, so I hope you enjoy the game, everyone.